Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. If everyone would please find a seat. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, PL 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this regular meeting of the Board of Adjustment of the Township of Franklin has been provided. Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Betterbid. Ms. Grauman, she asked to be excused. She's ill this evening. Mr. Johnson. Mr. McCracken.
Here.
Mr. Rich.
Here.
Mr. Shepherd. Mr. Caldwell. Mr. Rosenthal.
Here.
Mr. Reese.
Yeah.
Mr. O'Connell.
Here.
Chairman Thomas.
Here. We have minutes of the regular meeting, May 16th, 2013. Is there a motion?
Move them.
I'll second.
Mr. McCracken.
Yes.
Mr. Rich.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal.
Yes.
Mr. Reese.
Yep.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes. The first resolution, Bahar and Susserman, ZBA 13-00002. We need a motion.
Somebody was here. I wasn't.
I moved it.
And a second.
Second.
Mr. Rich.
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal.
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell.
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Okay, and the second resolution, Mr. Dominic will explain the
Yes.
reason for the word revised.
Yeah, it's an amended revised resolution. What happened was during the compliance stage, we realized that the actual variance that was granted for the existing front yard setback, the building didn't move. The setback was originally based on a plan that was submitted for when they were widening and changing the right-of-way on Elizabeth Avenue. It was 21.8 feet. Well, when they filed the deeds for it, it moved a little bit because of the measurement to 17.4. So in reality, nothing changes except for where the actual right-of-way is. We're in compliance stage. When they submitted the plans, we noticed it, so we need to revise the resolution. What we did in the two places that it mentioned, we changed 21.8 feet to 17.4 feet to reflect what the actual measurement is.
Okay, this is Karwoski, ZBA 11-0002, the revised version. We need a motion and a second.
Move the revised version?
I'll second.
Mr. McCracken,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
and Chairman Thomas.
Yes. First hearing would be Kings Row Homes, docket ZBA 10-0001. This is settlement of a litigation for 77 and 123 Cedar Grove Lane, Somerset, block 468.07, lots 46 and 47 in the R40 zone.
Right, okay, so with regards to this public meeting, this is memorializing what the board has resolved in executive session. This is in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. Just by way of background, this board had granted use variance approval to build townhomes at this property. The original amount of townhomes that they applied for was not given to them. A lesser amount was given to them. They appealed that determination. The court found that the number of townhomes that the board had given them was arbitrary and capricious, so they sent it back to us. And litigation ensued, and after resolution, they proposed a lesser number of units. And the board wasn't happy with that, and now the board has come to terms on 34 units, down from the original 60, I think. So now it'll be 34 units, 26 three-bedrooms, and 8 two-bedroom homes. The purpose of this meeting is you will open to the public. There is no discussion about those number of units. There will, however, be separate site plan, which is coming back to the board. We don't have a new date for that yet. That'll be after they submit those plans to your professionals. And we go through the normal course of your professionals reviewing and reporting back to you, and you'll have a separate public hearing about that. Tonight, at the conclusion of the public session, you will then make a vote on a resolution to approve the settlement with regards to the number. The use variance is already granted, the use and the density at this number previously discussed in executive session.
With the number and the type.
Yes.
Okay, is there any board discussion, questions, comments?
Just for the record, Mr. Shepherd arrived at 7:37, so he's eligible to vote in this matter.
All right, we'll open to the
So
public.
we're increasing.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
How many lots? How many lots?
24 to 30, 35, right?
How many townhomes? That's your question, not lots?
Yeah.
Yeah, 34.
Any other comments, questions? All right, now we will open to the public. If there is anyone who has a comment or a question, would like to make it, this would be the time to do it. And this, of course, is in relation to this application or this matter. Come on up and use the podium. Since it can be a statement, we need to swear you in.
Sir, if you raise your right hand for me, solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay. State your name and address, please.
My name is John.
Is that mic on?
Seems like it.
Just need to talk.
Just tap
into
it, you'll know.
Tap it.
No.
No, it's not on.
Let's switch underneath. Is it underneath or on the side?
You can take it out if you want. There's two, up and over, I believe it is. Yeah, it's on now. You got to put it close to your mouth, like a,
Okay. Like this?
yeah, that's
That's it,
that's
perfect.
perfect.
Okay. I reside at 67 McGuffey Road in Somerset and work every day at 127 Cedar Grove Lane, Somerset.
I did.
Immediately adjacent to the development. Just want to let you know, I'm not opposed to it. Steve and his dad have been very informative, very kind, talked to us from the onset about their intentions and their plans. My only concern is that we are immediate neighbors and we have an active, functioning business. And it's not unusual for new development to move in and then be upset with what's next door. So my only concern is a mechanism that allows people to understand that we're a functioning business. My grandfather bought the property in 1918, and our family's resided and worked and made its living from that location since that time. So I just don't, I'm happy to have new neighbors. I just don't want to have to change what we've been doing in order to accommodate, something. Yeah, it's just like Bound Brook. If I rent an apartment next to the train station, I may not be happy about it, but I'm going to have to live with train noise. So,
And what business do you have? Did you already say that?
yeah, my grandfather started in agriculture.
Right.
And my father into landscaping, and Cedar Landscaping's been there. Sorry.
Oh, Cedar Hill. Oh, so
Yeah.
you're Cedar Hill. Okay.
Yeah, so there is noise of machinery and stuff.
Right.
So,
We are what we are.
so
This-
can I ask our attorney, how will we protect this property owner when we
Well,
open this residential property next to it?
Fortunately for the board, that's not our responsibility.
Well,
It's
we
simply
will
put-
do it through as much as we can through the site plan.
Well,
I mean,
here's,
there's buffering, there's fences, there are things, and also the protection works both ways. His business needs to be protected from irresponsible complaints from residents
Right.
who will know it's there when they move in.
As long as your business is acting in accordance with the various approvals that you have and the various ordinances that we have, you're entitled to operate. For instance, if you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, then, or if have more noise than the noise ordinance allows, absent that, you're entitled to do your business.
yeah, I don't know.
We are protected by your approvals and by our ordinances, just as the next door neighbors will be protected by what you're approved and by our ordinances. So it goes both ways.
One of the other things is that we've often made it a responsibility of the seller developer to have different ways of informing the people purchasing these units of the conditions and the situation. And it is not unique, it is not ideal, it is not unique to have a business next to a residential development because one place has to end and one place has to begin. Can't be separated, forever. Your concern is certainly valid, and it's something we usually spend a lot of time working on through the site plan wherever we can do that. It's not perfect.
And I understand that. And I don't mean to convey that it's this board's responsibility to stop people from complaining. We'd all have other jobs.
No, but
to do
we
that.
should be interested in your rights.
Yes, and I just want to be a good neighbor in some way to convey to people that, hey, this is what they are. They're welcome to come, to visit. They'd be happy to, meet the new people. This is what we are, this is what we do. And move in, enjoy your home, but, please don't get upset with me for what we are. That's all.
All right, thank you. Anyone else wish to speak or ask a question? All right, we'll close this portion of the meeting. Anything from the board?
What was the original number of units that they came in for? Do we
No.
still remember that?
Wasn't it 60s?
60, I think, huh?
Somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that the applicant has an attorney here. You can hear from him. He knows those figures. Just tell us who you are. I don't have to swear you in, but.
Jason Horilac from Wisniewski and Associates. I'm here on behalf of Steve Rubin and Kings Row Home. I believe the number was 62. It was the original number that was requested.
Okay, good, all right.
And just so the board is aware, I know Mr. Wisniewski, my boss, who had been working on this deal, who is in Trenton today, he apologizes for not being here, had been working and emailing with Mr. Bradshaw and counsel for the township throughout the day. Obviously, this settlement is contingent upon the town council doing their approval through their functions. And there is an issue with the affordable housing development fee that's going to be paid to the township as a result of this settlement. And so there may be a small minor change in the settlement agreement just on that issue. The board may have not seen that, but.
Yeah, that really doesn't concern this board. That's,
shouldn't, but I just wanna-
that's between the council and
I
you.
just don't
so-
want anyone to see a change and think that it wasn't something that was discussed prior.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, or motion?
I move that we allow Kings Row Homes, docket ZBA 10-00001, approval to change, for the court settlement, allow 40 units pending a new site plan to be brought before this board. Is that correct?
With the breakdown of 26 three-bedrooms and 8 two-bedroom units,
Right.
that was the resolved number.
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
All aboard?
Mr. McCracken,
Yes.
Mr. Rich,
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd,
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal,
Yes.
Mr. Reese,
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell,
Yes.
Chairman Thomas.
Yes. Okay, next application, Richard Wright, docket ZBA 13-00009. Applicant seeks a hardship variance proposing to build an addition at 49 Marcy Street, Block 475, Lot 19, in the R10 zone.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, just briefly, they are proposing an addition. There's two existing variances that they need. One is for the lot area, where they're required to have 13,125, and they're at 12,174.7, so we'd like to clean that up for them. They also have a side yard setback for existing garden shed that's required at 3 feet. It's at 2.24 feet. The one new variance that they do have is for the front yard setback for the addition, where it's required at 25 feet, and they'll be at 21.92 feet. So they're a little over 3 feet short with the addition.
Okay, sir, let me swear you in. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Now, you're going to have to see if one of those microphones is working for you.
You got to turn it, you could, yeah, do a little switch here.
This is the test we put everyone through.
You can't do that.
If you can't do that, you
No matter
can't
how
hear.
perfect your application is, you don't get approved.
You're not going to get anywhere. There you go.
There we go. Okay, so, and you are for the record, sir? You need to tell us who you are for the record. I know-
My name is Richard Wright and currently reside at 48 Marcy Street in Somerset, New Jersey.
Okay. 48. Is there anything you wanted to add to what Mr. Dominic said on your behalf?
No, those are precisely the variances that we would like to get approved for this project.
Is there anything you can do or consider doing to reduce any, or eliminate the variances? One suggestion from the general review comments was consider shifting the garage back 5 feet and/or reducing the interior storage area.
One of the challenges that we had come across with this design was providing a garage adequate for 2 cars, that being the width, and also providing enough area in the front end of the garage to accommodate a workshop that I've currently got in my family room. And one of the challenges with the area in front of the cars, that being the workshop area, was the preservation of a window in the kitchen area. Which limited the length of that building to provide enough pitch for the roof that such that it wouldn't be as flatter than it is now.
So those are reasons there alone to leave the garage where it is.
Yes.
And did you have a chance to review those general review comments, so you're aware of them?
Yes, I
Pretty much
did.
just statements for the most part.
One comment I'd like to make in reference to the shed, would it be acceptable that if I moved the shed to a distance of, I believe, 3 feet from?
Yeah, you got to move it a couple inches.
That's it, all right?
I would like to preserve the shed, and for the reason being that I'm storing most of the things with gasoline in it. Obviously, a lawnmower, I've got a weed whacker.
You got to move it like 9 inches.
I don't think we have to worry about that part of it.
I might add that I do have a site plan that when I originally bought the house in 1996 that showed that shed in precisely the same location.
Are any of all the other comments okay for you, from your point of view?
Yes, the other comments, as I recall, were were some
Paperwork.
some drainage work that is drawings. I just want to get clarified as far as.
Yeah, well, you'll need some spot grades so they can make sure that the runoff will be correct. And that's just having your surveyor come out and shoot a couple spots so they know how it's going to be draining away from the addition, so.
Okay.
That's standard we require for any addition or new home.
And is there anything that is going to be stored in the garage other than automobiles and household residents?
No. In fact, the 2 cars would certainly be there, and the only other thing I have is a workbench.
And is there what type, hello, over this way. What type of things do you do on the workbench? Just general house maintenance?
No, mostly woodworking.
Okay.
I rebuild furniture, and so it's mostly woodworking that I do.
So it's not commercial, it's just your own personal stuff?
Oh, it's my own personal hobby. That was the only reason.
Any other questions?
So I'm clear that they won't need the 3rd variance if they move the shed?
Yeah, if he moves the shed 9 inches or a foot, he won't need that variance. That is correct. And he said he's willing to do that, right?
Is it
I would agree to
possible?
move the shed.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Anybody need anything else? We'll open to the public. Is there anyone who'd like to ask a question or make a comment? And most of the public has disappeared, so we'll close. I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we grant Richard Wright a variance, a hardship variance to erect a garage at 49 Marcy Street, Somerset, New Jersey, Block 475, Lot 19.
Second.
Poll the board.
Mr. McCracken?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal?
Yes.
Mr. Reese?
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell?
Yes.
Chairman Thomas?
Yes, good luck with it. Okay.
And for our township attorney, the record will reflect that he's gonna, the ordinance, or the resolution will reflect that he's gonna move the shed 9 inches?
I simply wrote that the shed will be moved such that no variance is needed.
Okay, that's great.
Okay.
They will understand that in the engineering office, right? So if it's 9 inches,
Yes. We'll just, what'll happen is, once, after he does the addition, they have to do an as-built survey, and it'll have to show the shed meeting the setback.
okay. All right, good luck. Next is the foundation of Oscar and Ella Wolf Campus for Senior Living, docket ZBA 13-00010. Applicant seeks a sign variance proposing to replace a freestanding sign at 350 DeMont Lane, Somerset, block 386.07, lot 54.03 in the R20 zone.
And
Okay, and since this is my law firm that is presenting this application, I will recuse myself.
Have a good night.
Mr. Chairman, just very, very briefly, so the board understands the effort that the applicant has made. Over the last 2 months, since they originally proposed, they've been working very, very closely with staff. We've been back and forth, and I think you can see from the staff reports that the staff supports what they've been doing. They're asking for 2 variances. One is for the size of the sign, 25-foot maximum, a little over 45 feet is proposed, and the sign setback is 25 feet. The existing one is 5 feet. They're actually pushing it back further to be 10 feet. But I wanted to make sure the board understood that we've been working very diligently with them, and they've been very cooperative in doing exactly what staff has asked in response to our comments, so.
Okay.
Okay, so they were here for the.
Site plan,
For the building,
right,
and the sign wasn't incorporated in
correct,
the same case.
correct.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. For the record, Larry Cali with the firm Porzio, Bromberg and Newman on behalf of the applicant. It's nice to see everyone again. I think we'll be very brief this evening. Mr. Chairman, I appreciate Vince's kind words. Just to dub on that, the applicant has been really looking forward to working linearly with the board and with the board's consultants and with the township in general with all this project. I mean, there's a lot invested in this site, as you know, and the use here is very important to society in general, and the applicant's been very diligent in trying to move forward, and I really appreciate Vince's acknowledgement of that to the board tonight. We're here tonight for a very limited reason. You may remember at the time of our prior application, when the board granted approval for the office structure, we started discussing a sign. And Mr. Bradshaw and I thought it was prudent that we notice for that because it was a late add-on to the development project. It was a goal towards betterment of this property and continued improvement. The one sign that's proposed is replacing 2 that are there, kind of beat up looking in a way, not that functional in another sense, and you'll hear testimony on that. But the ultimate drive here and a consistent effort is improvement of this property. We started discussing that signage, and we said we'd defer it until we could notice and come back. That's essentially why we're here this evening. It's a monument sign that we're proposing along the entrance on DeMott. It's a nice-looking monument sign, as you can see from your site plans. It's replacing 2, so quantity's coming down. It's also being pushed back further onto our property, so the deficiency that we have today with setback from DeMott frontage is being minimized. There's a sign area variance, but you normally see those. Frankly, you need to be able to identify what the sign is from a certain distance on a traveled way. It typically has to be a certain size to do so. So it's larger than the ordinance permits, but I think you'll hear during the testimony that it's necessary to effectuate the needs of the applicant and motorists trying to access this property. I have one witness to call this evening, Mr. Chairman. It's our site planner, Mr. McDonough. He's testified here before in the capacity of a planner in connection with the use variance application we had in March. If there are no questions, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to call Mr. McDonough and start our proofs.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
If you raise your right hand for me, you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth,
Yes, I do.
and just state who you are for the record.
Yes, my name is John McDonough, MC, capital DONOUGH.
Okay, you're licensed, you're.
Licensed
you're a
professional planner,
and
landscape
still,
architect.
Our memories are still good enough that we remember, so let's just move forward. We'll
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
accept-
John, you've heard my introduction and Mr. Dominak's recitation of why we're here this evening. Would you please
Pick up
take
the mic.
board?
Pick up the mic.
Thank you. Would you briefly take the board through the property again, what signage is existing and what we're proposing, and take the board through the proofs for the variances that we seek?
I will, and again, I'll echo what Mr. Cali said. I'll be very brief. I think this is a very straightforward application from a planning standpoint, and the statutory test that applies is our balancing test, where we look at the benefits, and clearly here we have strong benefit in terms of aesthetic, in terms of visual impact, and in terms of public safety as well. Very little detriment given what's there now and the fact that this is a replacement application, taking a sign that's there that is non-conforming as to setback and pulling it back to improve the setback. And then also, we have a greater area than we presently have now. However, it is a consolidation of directional signage on the property, better than what has really been a haphazard pattern of development in terms of signage on the property. Brings it all into one sign, and again, provides the public benefit of clear and safe identification of the site. To reinforce what I've just said, I can walk the board very briefly through two sets of photographs. One will be an aerial that shows where the sign is, and the second will be a comparison of the before and the after.
Okay, so you want to mark the first one, what do we call that one? I'll mark that A1.
They're stapled together, so if we want to call them one packet.
Okay.
A1, again, for the record, is an aerial photograph on the first page, and ground photographs on the second page.
Okay.
The first page on A1 will be somewhat familiar because I showed something very similar when we went through the details of the use variance a couple months back. It simply outlines the property in question in yellow, shows the campus setting that we have here.
Thanks.
We've got multiple buildings that take you through the sequence of the life cycle. We've got the independent living at the center of the complex. We've got the assisted living facility over to the right or the the east end of the campus. And then, of course, we've got the nursing and the rehabilitation center off to the left, off to the west side of the property. And of course, we've got that new building that's been approved coming in as well, which will be the administrative hub of this facility. The sign itself is all the way at the top of the photograph at the intersection of Levinson Plaza Road and Demont Lane. Again, taking what's there now and consolidating it into a single sign package. It's a well-buffered site in terms of the impact on particularly the homes over on Magnolia Road. It's a sign that is going to be oriented perpendicular to Demont Road so that we will have two sides of visibility, again, providing clear and safe identification of the site for the motoring public. Flipping over to the second page, we take a look at the existing sign that's there now, which actually identifies only one of the buildings in the campus, bearing in mind this is a campus with 4 different facilities. The proposed sign, as you can see to the right, will consolidate all of those facilities onto one sign panel. That will increase the sign area. Again, this is not true to scale, but it's approximate to scale, roughly doubling what's there from 24 square feet to 45 square feet. Again, from a mass and scale standpoint, not overwhelming, given the context of the area. It has nice branding, nice re-imaging over the older sign. We have nice identification of the property addresses. And then once we work our way into the site, there will be directional signage, which does conform with your ordinance to facilitate wayfinding through the property. So the relief being sought is simply to allow for that proposed sign to have an area of 45 square feet. The 4 panels on it are what trigger that additional square footage over the 24 square feet, which is there presently. On balancing, applying the C2 test, the benefit, again, is clear and safe identification of the site. That's a public safety benefit, and that is an aesthetic benefit with absolutely no negative detriment on the other side. The balancing is clearly on the positive, and I believe the statutory C2 test is met in that regard. The setback, that's a C1 variance. That's an existing condition that is actually being improved by virtue of the pulling the sign back another 5 feet. And in that regard, also passes the statutory hardship test. All said, it's a good application. It's going to give the site a nice gateway into the approach of the site, and in that regard warrants the board's approval.
Is there any lighting? Did you?
There is going to be direct lighting on the sign. There will be what they call micro floods at the base, similar to what's there now. They have a very narrow cone of illumination that will shine directly on the light itself and will be buried within the landscaping that's going to be proposed around this sign. And as I look at the plan that's been prepared, we're looking at over 24 plants that would go around the base of the sign.
Anything else?
That's all we have, Mr. Chairman. I make Mr. McDonough available for questions of the board.
You gotta use the mic so that.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's all we have, Mr. Chairman. I'd make Mr. McDonough available to questions of the board. I would just reiterate, I think, I spoke to Mr. Healy, I've read his report. I think the planning report sort of speaks for itself. This is a relatively vanilla application, I think, as far as variances go. We're improving one, as you've heard. The other is necessary to effectuate the needs as far as the sign area goes. It's a good improvement, and I think it's indicative of what the applicant's been doing on this property for a long time now and is continuing to do. We've seen this board twice this year. We may see this board again, hopefully. I think improving a large property like this with this kind of a use is impressive in today's world, in this economy, and it's a very basic application. I think it's just that. It's a nice improvement, and we appreciate the board's time as usual.
Any questions? Anybody need anything, any information?
Public?
Bob wants to make the
I'll appeal
motion
to
from the
the
public.
non-existent public. Is there anyone who'd like to ask a question or a statement? Then we'll close and we'll take it open, we'll be open for a motion or any question or discussion.
I move that we grant a variance proposing, which proposes to replace freestanding sign at 350 Demont Lane, Block 386.07 and Lot 54.03 in the R20 zone. I guess that's all I need.
And a second from someone?
Second.
Any questions, comments? Poll the board.
Mr. McCracken?
Yes.
Mr. Rich?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenthal?
Yes.
Mr. Reese?
Yes.
Mr. O'Connell?
Yes.
Chairman Thomas?
Yes. Okay, good luck with that.
Thank you very much.
Any board business comments, questions, or anything? Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.